All right, let's talk about something we all know a little too well, complaining at work. But here's the thing. We're going to flip the script on this one. We're going to look at complaining not as just annoying noise, but as a seriously powerful and often hidden form of communication inside an organization.
I mean, come on, you know exactly who I'm talking about, right? That one person who can find a cloud in every silver lining. The coffee's too hot, the new software's too slow, the company's strategy is all wrong. It is absolutely draining. It can suck the life right out of a team meeting. We've all been there. But what if I told you that all that complaining, it isn't just whining? What if it's actually a signal? Yeah, a vital piece of feedback. And if we can learn how to decode it, it can point out huge risks, flag problems before they blow up, and even be the spark that leads to incredible growth. Because at its most basic level, that's all complaining is, expressing dissatisfaction. We tend to lump it all together as just negative whining, but that's a huge mistake. The real mission isn't to get everyone to stop complaining. It's to learn how to hear what's really being said. That's where the hidden value is. So how in the world do we start decoding these signals? Well, the key, the absolute secret, is to understand the intent behind the words. Turns out there are 4 main types of complaints, and once you can spot them, it's a total game changer. So here they are, the big 4. Think of it like a spectrum. On one end, you have the super valuable stuff, productive complaints that are all about making things better. And on the far other end, you've got the purely toxic, malicious kind designed to cause harm. Let's break each one down.
First up, the gold standard, productive complaining. This is sometimes called giving voice. This is your teammate who says, hey, this workload is going to burn us out. Or, this new product has a flaw that customers are going to hate. They aren't just griping, they're trying to fix something for the good of everyone. This is the feedback you should be begging for.
Next, we have venting. Oh, we've all done this. This one is all about emotion. It's about letting off steam or finding a buddy who just gets it. And, it can be helpful. It gives you a little relief, builds a social bond, but there's a downside. It can be a huge burden on whoever's listening. And if it becomes the default way of communicating, it can really sour the team culture.
And then there's the chronic complainer. This person's complaints aren't really about a specific problem. It's more of a pessimistic worldview. They're trouble finders. But here's the surprising twist. Because they are always looking for what's wrong, sometimes they're the canary in the coal mine. They might actually be the first to spot a real problem. But you also got to watch out, because this can be a major warning sign of burnout. And finally, we have the most dangerous one, malicious complaining. This is the destructive stuff. It has nothing to do with making things better, and everything to do with hurting someone else for personal gain. We're talking gossip, backstabbing, trying to wreck a coworker's reputation. There is absolutely no upside to this. It is pure poison for a workplace. So when you strip it all away, it really boils down to intent. Is the person speaking up to build the team up by fixing a real problem, or are they trying to tear someone else down to get ahead? Answering that one question tells you everything you need to know.
Okay, so we can spot the different types, but why is this so critical? Because simply ignoring complaints, especially the productive ones, well, that comes with a massive cost. It almost always blows up in your face.
Think about it. When people feel like they're shouting into the void, it kicks off a chain reaction. First comes stress, then comes disengagement. And once your best people are disengaged, they start polishing their resumes. Pretty soon, you've created a culture where nobody feels safe enough to speak up, which means you'll never hear about the next big problem until it's too late. And if you want a perfect real-world example of exactly what not to do, just think about that CEO who went viral for telling his employees to leave Pity City when they raised concerns about their bonuses. It was just a masterclass in how to instantly destroy morale and trust. So if ignoring complaints is a total disaster, what's the right move? How do you actually handle this stuff? All right, let's open up the playbook. There's a clear strategy for turning this whole thing around. This playbook really comes down to 3 big ideas. First, you've got to change your own mindset from being defensive to being curious. Second, you need to build systems that actually invite the right kind of feedback. And third, you got to have the courage to shut down the wrong kind. Step 1 is all about flipping a switch in your own head. Instead of getting defensive or trying to judge the person's motive, just get curious. Ask a simple question like, what do you hope to achieve with your feedback and how can I help you? That one question completely changes the conversation. It cuts right through the noise to find the intent and puts the focus on solutions. Second, you have to build the right pathways. You see, productive feedback rarely just happens by itself. You have to create safe, predictable channels for it. This means things like making performance reviews a real two-way conversation, not a lecture. When people know there's a right time and a safe way to speak up, they'll actually do it.
In step 3, well, this one takes courage. You have to deal with the malicious and the relentless chronic complaining head on. A lot of the time, people honestly don't realize the negative ripple effect they're having. A direct, clear, but constructive conversation isn't just helpful, it's absolutely essential to protect your team's culture from becoming toxic. So, when we put all this together, what's the big idea to walk away with? It all comes down to this. You have to start listening differently.
Just look at this breakdown. When you really analyze it, the vast majority of complaining actually holds the potential for something good, either real positive change or a critical early warning. Yes, some of it is toxic, but here's the cool part. As a leader, you have a ton of power to shift that balance and decide which outcome your team gets. And that, right there, is the most important point of all. The goal is not a silent workplace where nobody ever has a problem. That's a fantasy, and probably not a healthy one. The real goal is a place where people can communicate openly, where that feedback gets decoded the right way, and where you're smart enough to harness the good stuff and shut down the bad.
So I'll leave you with a question. The next time a coworker starts complaining to you, what are you going to be listening for? Are you just going to hear the annoying noise, or are you going to listen for the signal hidden inside? Are you going to focus on the problem, or are you going to try to understand the intent?